If you are curious about how a Black American got into a Ivy League Korean university as a full-time regular Korean student, then keep watching this video. Hi everyone, so welcome to my channel. My name is Nathan and I am a 26-year-old American who has been living abroad since I was 18 years old. I first moved to South Korea straight out of high school, like I said, at 18, and I have been living in a bunch of different countries since then. I've lived in South Korea, I've lived in France, Spain, and Poland. And now I'm currently back home in Los Angeles, preparing to head back to start my new home in Spain. So yeah, basically I wanted to do a video to finally talk about my experiences abroad because it has been my biggest regret for the past 8 years. Especially when I was living in Korea, to not document my life abroad, what it was like being, one of the only Black students, let alone definitely one of the only American students in a Ivy League Korean university. And yeah, so if you are curious about how a Black American got into a Ivy League Korean university as a full-time regular Korean student, then keep watching this video. My Korean journey starts, like I said, back here in Los Angeles. We're gonna go all the way back to when I was 14, I believe. And so when I was 14 years old, I started going to a Korean language school. And you're probably like, a Korean language school, okay, but so basically I went to a Korean language school, but the language school I went to was for Korean Americans. It was not actually for foreigners or non-native Korean speakers. So it's basically a school for Korean Americans or for Korean immigrants, and they send their children to this school so that way their children can keep learning the Korean language outside of the house. So that way they can, learn writing, improve their writing and reading skills, and start learning, more advanced Korean than just what they would use inside their house. And I got to know this school because of a Korean friend, my first ever Korean friend from middle school. Her name was Jinju. Shout out to Jinju. So yeah, it's just really funny how just things end up just falling into place. And you would, like, if you had told me when I was in elementary school or even middle school that I would end up going to university in Korea instead of going to university in America, or the United States I should say, that would have been completely incomprehensible to me at the time. But that's how it ended up going. So yeah, so basically I went to this Korean school when I was 14, and obviously it was a private school, and my parents, had to pay because I didn't have no money when I was 14. So basically, I ended up visiting the school one time, and I was just like, this is what I want. Like, ever since I was young, I've always wanted to learn another language. And at the time when I was 14, I was learning French. But for me, French, it wasn't really, I don't know. It was cool, but there's something about learning a language that, like, no one would ever expect you to speak that really made me excited. And I mean, basically before my friend Jinju in middle school, I knew about South Korea, but I didn't know anything about South Korean culture. I didn't know a single word in Korean. Like, I didn't know anything. And yeah, so basically when I was 14, I started going to this Korean school, and well, obviously I had to beg my parents to send me to the school, and my parents basically told me, if we send you to this Korean school, you cannot just like drop out. We're paying tuition for you to go to this school, and this is not going to be like something where you go and you're just like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, whatever. Like, they were like, if we send you to the school, you need to study hard, and you need to go through with it all the way. So I stayed at that Korean school all the way from the age of 14 to the age of 18 when I graduated high school. So that was the start of my Korean journey. And so after about, I would say, I think it was like a year of Korean school, when I was 15, I was like, okay, so I'm learning this language of this country I have never been to in my life. And I was like watching Korean TV like constantly, like all the time, because basically I was in this class, but the school was in Korean. Like I said, it was not for non-native speakers. So in order to understand everything, you need to understand Korean, because the teachers were speaking only in Korean predominantly. So on top of that, I was like the only non-Korean in the entire school. I was the only black person in the entire school, which is a whole nother story. But basically I kind of just kept to myself. Any type of like, I don't know, racism or whatnot, I just kind of like dealt with and was like, whatever, I'm gonna learn this language and I'm gonna prove to y'all that y'all can't get on me. So that's basically how it went. So I would come home after school all the time, and I would just like dive into like my Korean books. Like I have like books I used to read back when I was like 14. Like these were like the books I used to read. My Korean friends used to give them to me. Yeah, just like so many memories. So it's just funny how like I can read these books now, but back when I was 14, I remember I was like struggling, man. Like I was struggling to read these books. So, and I was like watching Korean TV like constantly, and I would play the same programs over and over and over and over again until I understood what they were saying, until I could really mimic the accent. And yeah, so basically after about a year of doing that, I ended up contacting a family. Sorry, I'm not looking at the camera. This is my first video, so I'm kind of nervous, so please forgive me. Yeah, so basically I contacted this Korean family in my church at the time that I was going to. So I used to go to like this international, really big church here in the US that has lots of churches around the world. And I contacted this Korean minister or whatever, and he ended up saying like, you can come stay with my family for the summer in Korea. And I mean, I begged my parents to send me to Korea. Like I told them like, please, please, please send me for the summer to go. And yeah, my parents supported me and it worked out. So I went to Korea for the first time alone on a plane when I was 15. And I was in Korea for the summer, and it was the most, well, the beginning of one of the most amazing, moments in my life. I went to an all-Korean church at the time when I was Christian. And I was living my entire life for the first time in Korean. Like the family I was living with, only the father spoke English, so I was living with two other boys, his sons, and then the mom, so none of them spoke English. And it was an amazing, like, immersive environment for me, just like, and I was completely on my own, completely free to do what I wanted. So I would roam the streets, and I like made friends, and it was awesome. So that was my first ever summer in Korea when I was 15 years old in high school. And basically after I came back from Korea, I was completely like changed. And basically when I was about to leave Korea, one of my hyungs, like older brothers, or, well, in Korea, basically a guy who was older than you is a hyung. And we got really, really close, and he ended up telling me like, if you like living here so much, why don't you just come to university here? So I was like, okay, is that even like a thing? Is that possible? And he was like, why not? And basically, once that idea was in my mind, like, okay, go to university in Korea, from that point on, it was done, it was over. Like, I came home and I was like completely changed, like, I was so sad to be back in the US. All I wanted was just to go back to Korea. And I basically told myself from 15 on that I was going to prepare myself to go to university in Korea. So while my friends were preparing for university here in the US, trying to get into these Ivy League schools, Yale and Berkeley or whatever, I had absolutely no interest. I was not preparing at all. I was not applying at all. People thought I was crazy. People thought, like, you're screwing up your life. And then my Korean friends were just like, you want to go to university in Korea? Like, do you know how crazy and hard and difficult that is? Because I was not applying just to, like, a regular university. I was applying to Ivy League universities in Korea. So people were just like, Are you crazy? So yeah, that was basically the 3 years left in high school. And so yeah, I continued going to Korean school, and anyone who has gone to Korean school in LA or America knows this book, I'm pretty sure. This is the Korean SAT book. I was in a Korean SAT prep class, I remember, and I think I was the only person who enjoyed that class. I absolutely love Korean grammar and reading in Korean and stuff, so that would lead me to when I was 18 and I hopped on a plane to South Korea and to Seoul, and that was the start of my university. So yeah, I ended up applying to a Ivy League Korean university, and I had to go through, like, I think it was like a round of 3 interviews, I believe. It was like, I don't know how to explain it in English. It was like, I think it was like 외국인 특별 전형, 뭐 그랬던 것 같아. I don't remember the name, but it was like some type of a special admissions for foreigners. But I had to go through like 3 rounds of interviews in order to get in, all in Korean, of course. And then I, at the time, I'm not sure what I was thinking, but I ended up deciding to apply for Korean literature. So my major was Korean literature. Yeah. When I'm thinking about it now, I'm just like, that was insane. Like, why did I choose that major? But yeah, that was my major. So my major was Korean literature, and I got accepted, and that was how it all started, the whole craziness of Korean University. So they told me I was, I believe, the first American to ever be accepted in the university. I think it was the first American to ever actually apply, like, full-on American who, has no ties to Korea. So yeah, like, they didn't know what to do with me when I arrived. Like, they didn't know what to do. Like, the university is not set up for foreigners like me. Like, I wasn't just I wasn't an exchange student. I was a full-time regular student. So once you get past the, admissions process, which they have set up kind of separately, I guess, for foreigners, because my major was an all-Korean major, I believe there was only one other non-Korean person in my major, and she was Chinese. They didn't have the setup for me. So basically, when I arrived, they had like my, my schedule for classes, and there's like the, the, what's it called in English? Like general ed classes that you take in your freshman year. So basically, I had like ESL classes in the beginning. They didn't know what to do, because they were like, wait a minute, you speak English, so you can't be in this ESL class. So stuff like that. And yeah, I'm trying to think of, like, there's just so many stories. So I'm gonna try and include some pictures of when I was in university in Korea, like the first couple of years, the pictures, and there's like pictures of me at like an MT. So basically an MT is what you go to definitely during your first couple of years, where it's like a party kind of thing. It's like an obligatory party that you have to go to, like a retreat, I should say, an obligatory retreat with lots and lots of alcohol, lots of soju, and you have Korean barbecue, kogi, and you are up in the mountains in what's called a pension. it's like just kind of like a cabin, kind of like a big house that you rent all together with your university mates. And yeah, that's what you guys do. You guys get drunk and you have to play a ton of games and like, yeah. Wow, this video has already got to 15 minutes. I cannot believe it. Alright, well, that will probably be the end of this video because I think I have rambled on for way too long. But if you are curious to know more about my life in Korea, as well as my life in other countries, and I really want to share, things as it goes on, I really want to share my experience and how I'm able to live abroad and what I do and everything. So if you are wanting to know more information, keep following my videos, please. Please support. And if you are interested in learning Korean, please check out my website, smarterkorean.com, where I actually am a private Korean tutor, one-on-one, online, so you can learn Korean from the comfort of your home with me. So, thanks for watching my video, and stay tuned. Bye.